special meeting of the Library Board of Trustees to order. In public comment, all written public comments that are received prior to 4 p.m. the day before the library board meeting will be compiled and will be added as supplemental material for the library trustees and the public to review prior to the meeting. To make public comment during the meeting, the public must call 775-783-6024 and leave a voice message which will be played for the library board of trustees and the public. Any written public comment received after 4 p.m. the day before the library board meeting will be compiled and added as supplemental materials to the county's website and distributed to the library board of trustees within 24 hours after the meeting. Veronica, is there any public comment?
Um, yes, this is Veronica Hallam. I did receive 2 public comment emails yesterday before 4 o'clock, and I have submitted those as supplemental material and distributed to the Board of Trustees. I also received 1 public comment email this morning, and I will submit that as supplemental material after this meeting and distribute to the trustees. And we have not received any public comment voicemails as of yet.
Okay, well, it's 10:01, so we will then take the 5 minutes for the public comment. 10:06. Veronica, have you received any public comment? Is Veronica still there?
She's muted.
Okay. Veronica, are you muted?
Okay, I'm sorry.
There we go.
No, we have not received any public comment voicemails.
Okay, thank you. Okay, for item number 2 for possible action, discussion on approval of proposed agenda. The Library Board of Trustees reserves the right to take items out of order, to combine 2 or more agenda items for consideration, and to remove items from the agenda at any time. All items designated for possible action shall include discussion by the Board of Trustees, and they may take action to approve, modify, deny, take no action, or continue the item. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second,
Oops.
do we have a second? I think.
This is Heather. I'll second.
Okay, Heather's second then. Okay, all those in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, item number 3 for possible action, discussion and possible action on continuing the phased reopening plan in response to the COVID pandemic, including but not limited to governor's emergency directives, in-person library services, hours of operation, safety measures, curbside and virtual services, and building closures and openings. Okay, discussion is open.
I would like to make a motion, given that we have had a lengthy discussion at our last meeting. We've had a week to reflect and review various background materials provided by Amy and an article provided by myself. I believe we have enough information to come to a vote, and I make a motion that we vote to open the library for in-person browsing hours beginning next Wednesday, February 8th, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 4.
Pardon me.
Is there a second?
Well, before we go that far, I'd like to
We don't
say
need a
that,
second to discuss.
oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll make a second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Okay, Amy?
Okay. I would just like to say that I think we need a little bit more time than next Wednesday in order to get ready to reopen. There's a piece of your packet that was sent as supplemental that has a recommendation of hours. I think that originally I was going to say that we should reopen on the 15th, but that's President's Day. So maybe the 16th or something like that. I think we need more than a week to get ready.
And what needs to get ready? That's what I'd like to know.
Okay. Well, we need to move some things around that have been moved. So we need to move furniture. We need to move parts of the collection and put more on display. We need to step up our sanitizing. I'm gonna shorten the time of quarantining the books and getting them sanitized quicker. So we need to catch up on that. And I think that's it.
Other comments?
Well,
Are we talking about just opening up 1 day a week? Or,
Yeah,
No,
that's
the-
another, sorry.
the motion that was seconded was to reopen for in-person browsing beginning February 8th, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 4.
okay, Amy, is that possible with the shortage of staff?
Well, we need to determine what those hours will be. I'm putting on the screen the proposed hours that I included with the packet, noting what staff and how many are needed for various services. It's really important to note that all three of the services or locations that we have, which is the library in Minden, the library in Lake Tahoe, and the bookmobile, we cannot run all three concurrently. We just don't have enough people. And there you go. On your screen is the proposed hours that I'm submitting. We right now have an FTE of 13.96. And when we're fully staffed, we're 17.44. So we're down by about 20% of staff. So I propose that we have certain days that are open for browsing and certain days that are not, so that we can operate all three locations. But we could not have all three open at the same time. We just don't have enough people.
I would have to push back on that because you were open before you closed for in-person browsing, you know, and had plenty of staff to do that. You could also vary your curbside, and one would expect that there's going to be some overlap between curbside and in-person browsing patrons. And so
Of course.
the onus and the number of curbside requests should be expected to go down. So,
Well, maybe, yeah. Curbside's really popular, so I really don't know if it's going to go down or not until we try. But maybe I should clarify that we could have two of them open at the same time, but not three. So the bookmobile is going to go back on the road as per the board direction at our last meeting in January. So that requires two people. And so I'm proposing that we operate the bookmobile 2 days per week. We continue the same hours at the Lake Tahoe branch, which is Tuesday and Thursday, 10 to 4. And we would just add browsing to that. We don't need additional staff for that branch if we keep those hours as they are on the screen. The Minden Library is the one that would change a little bit. I'm inclined to keep curbside pickup service every day as it is now, because the community is accustomed to those hours, and we are having a big increase in curbside pickup service. Last week, we doubled the numbers of the week prior. So I don't want to shorten the curbside pickup service hours, given the choice. Telephone service wouldn't change. It's the patron browsing. We would have 3 days a week, which would require 3 additional people. And I think that that's a lot more realistic.
Amy, I have a question, because browsing, people going in to browse the collection, and they have self-checkout. So I don't see that browsing requires the 3 staff, because most times when people are in the library, they may ask questions of somebody at the desk, but they're in there either looking for something they want, or they're just browsing to see what's new. So I don't see that as a concern.
Okay. Well, we have to have people at the front desk when patrons are browsing. As you said, they ask questions and they need help with checkout. Not everyone uses the self-checkout that we have. We have 2. One of them is used pretty regularly, and the other one not quite as much. And what I mean by that is that they're not using it independently. A lot of people still need help with self-checkout, so we still need staff there to assist them. And so in order to have the front desk open, we need to have those 3 people up there. And then the remaining people are answering the phones and doing curbside and so on.
Well, but I see that as a normal day. And there are people behind the desk anyway, so that if somebody needs a few minutes of help, but most of the people who are sending comments in and making inquiries, I think, know about the self-check and things, but I don't see the restrictions to the browsing as being a difficult situation. People, they come in, they get what they want, they leave, or they just come in and browse and look around. But parents who want access to children's books come in and they know what they're looking for. So I don't see that as an issue.
Okay.
And why would you need 3 people at the front desk?
We have one that's doing returns and accepting the returns that people bring in instead of taking them outside. And then we have 2 people at checkout. As I said, most people still need help with the self-checkout. It's not 100% independent. And then other people just don't like self-checkout and they would rather have a person check out their books or whatever materials. And then they also often have inquiries about their account or putting items on hold. There's more than one transaction going on at the same time. If we were open fully the way we were before the pandemic, we still need the FTE of 17.44. And so a lot of this has to do with just the staff reductions that are in place right now. And as I said, we can have 2 of these services open at the same time, but 3 of them requires us to kind of stagger the hours. We just don't have enough people. Honestly, we really do need 3 people up at the front desk, and that's an operational decision. It's something that requires more than just occasionally answering a quick question. It's much more involved than that.
Well, where are the people that are answering the telephone? Can they also be at the front desk or assisting patrons? Who's answering the telephone? Is that full time that you're assigning them to answer the telephone?
No, they rotate, but everybody's responsible to answer the phone. But if there are people at the front desk, then usually the people answering the phones are in the back. And so we do have all those people working all at the same time.
And is every library staff member able to check books out?
No. There are a couple that are not. Most of them, yes. But we have pages who don't do checkouts usually. Our IT coordinator doesn't do checkouts. I rarely do checkouts, occasionally, but not usually. I'm happy to help with that, of course. But as I said, these are operational decisions that could change, just like the schedule is an operational decision. And so I'm presenting a proposal based on the number of staff that we have, and the number of hours available in the day.
I mean, how do you define operational procedures? That only you can make that decision?
Well, actually, yes, that is the way it is. The library director is charged with operations, whereas the board is charged with making policy and making financial decisions and holding property.
Well,
And so, for example, the weekly schedule on the front desk is something that's done by the staff and approved by me. And it's not something that is unusual. That's usually the way it's done. Other operational things are things like procedures. Let's see, the collection, approving purchases, things like that.
okay, Amy, so are you also saying that if the board approves opening Monday through Friday, that you wouldn't do that?
No, I'll do whatever the board directs me to do, of course, but
Because the board, I understand the statute, and I actually had a county commissioner call and tell me about the statute, but the board is to manage all the property, real and personal of the library, and establish, supervise, and maintain a library, and then the board would make the decision about what the regular operating hours is of managing of the library.
right.
Can I say something? I have a couple of comments. The first is that I do support some opening. The disease numbers have gotten even better since 10 days ago. I did another look in the last 24 hours, and I'm very encouraged by that. And I think it is reasonable to start with a partial opening as opposed to a full opening at this time. Also, in thinking about the staffing issues, they do have extra labor in the disinfection of the book jackets. also, when they're open for browsing, somebody needs to keep track of how many people are in the building in order to keep within the 25%, or if we decide to go with a lower number for that safety. So there are more tasks that need to be done right now than, in previous years. So I'm sensitive to that.
Amy, can you take down your picture so we can see everybody?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Mhm.
Were
I
you done,
agree
Elizabeth, or?
I'm done for now.
Okay.
Thank
I-
you. Go ahead.
I completely with Elizabeth. It's great to say that we're going to open it, but if we're missing 20 to 25% of the staff and we have to do these extra procedures, it's really asking too much. I think it's going to be really difficult, and I think that it's going to be really hard on the staff, and I don't think that's necessary. I think opening is important, but I think in a modified version is the way we should be doing it. And I think it's smart health-wise also, like you said, to make sure that not too many people are in the room at the same time. They have to put their books in those buckets, and they have to sanitize the books, and then they put them back on the shelf. Plus they're getting all the books from the returns, and they have to sanitize those and there's a lot going on now that isn't going on normally. Plus they're missing a large portion of the staff.
Okay, can I ask Amy to clarify the large portion of the staff? Because wasn't one of the positions that's unfilled one that we created that has never been filled?
That's correct. Sorry.
So we've
my
never
phone's
had that
ringing in the
person.
background. I'm sorry. What was the last thing you said?
No, we've never had that person. So technically it's two positions and they're not full-time, one of them?
We have one full-time position that's open due to Maria's retirement, and it'll probably take a month to fill that position. And then train the person. We have two other full-time positions. As you said, one of them has not been filled in the past because of the pandemic. And then one part-time position also that needs to be filled.
And how
So,
many hours is that part-time position?
19 hours.
19.
So you're saying we're down one and a half positions.
No, 2.5.
Well, what two? Because we're not the one,
The one was never there.
yeah,
Well, it's there.
No, I know,
We-
but
we
we've
made-
never had it filled.
Right,
we
right.
never had it filled.
Well, yeah, we made an offer to a candidate who then declined, and then we closed. So we were on the
And so
verge of filling that.
So we
Yeah.
can't count that as an open position because we never had it, right?
Yes,
now.
because it's frozen right now. It's a frozen position.
Oh.
And then the other three, one is part-time and two are full-time. And as I said, one of them is based on the retirement of Maria Pearson, and we will have that filled and trained within a month or so. But obviously we don't have that person right now. And if we fill that position internally, I should note, for instance, if we promoted someone from within the library, that would still create another opening that we would have to fill. It's sort of a domino effect. And so that position or that loss of a person, I can't predict when that's gonna go away. And I should also add, based on Jill and Elizabeth's comments, that the proposal that I've put in front of you is just a proposal, but also it's a phased proposal. The state has classified things in phases. We're still technically in phase 2, as far as I know, and that means that we could open more fully later on down the road as things improve. We still need to take all the same health precautions of, wearing masks and sanitizing books and sanitizing surfaces and things like that. So we still need to be really cautious about spreading COVID, and we need to limit the number of people who are close together. And so that means, though, that later on as things improve, hopefully we would be able to reopen fully.
How is this phased? That you wouldn't start it in next Wednesday or a week?
No, that's sorry, that's not what I meant. No, it means that if we open right now with limited browsing, and according to the proposal that I have in front of you, that just means that later on we will open fully. So that would be like the final phase of the phases. I'm trying to follow along with the governor's directives of phase 1, phase 2, et cetera.
Well, the governor's directive is 25% of occupancy, which would be 40 people at a time. And do
Yes,
you ever have 40 people in the library at one time?
yes.
When?
Well, using your logic of curbside going down if we open, we have roughly 70 to 80 curbsides per day. So that represents at least one person per transaction. So if half of those people were to come in, then we would be at 25% capacity.
If they all came in at once.
Right.
Which isn't
Which-
likely.
No,
which
it's
is
not.
Unlikely.
That's not.
Right. I was
I
just trying.
also agree that a lot of people who are using curbside are going to continue using curbside. I mean, when the library reopened in the fall, I continued to use curbside because that I was comfortable with that, and I don't have any problem browsing online.
Okay, so if you're thinking that the full week is not doable, and I do not want to give up the bookmobile because I've been having that on our plate for the last several months, I want to keep that. So I don't want to say, well, let's skip the bookmobile. Would Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday opening the Minden branch, and then Wednesday, Friday for the bookmobile, and keep Tahoe the way you have it, would that be doable?
So bookmobile Wednesday and Friday, is that what you said?
Uh-huh.
And then
Tuesday,
Min-
Thursday, Saturday.
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Well,
Okay.
Monday, there's so many holidays. I figure why make
Yeah.
that one of the open
Well, the
days?
reason we do that is because the Lake Tahoe branch is open Tuesday and Thursday. So I was trying to just stagger it with the Lake Tahoe schedule. Schedule wise, the best days are going to be Tuesday through Friday. For any of our services, we just have a smaller staff on Mondays and Saturdays. And so that's why I just kind of left Mondays out of this schedule.
Mhm.
So I just want to make sure I'm clear. You would want the bookmobile on Wednesdays and Fridays,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And then the Minden Library Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. It just needs to be voted on what the days and hours are going to be.
Yeah.
Well, I'm asking you, that is a doable schedule with the staffing.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
And I see an advantage of that schedule being that you don't have any 2 days in a row that are open, which gives a better chance for disinfection of surfaces and things like that.
Okay.
Well,
Wednesday.
when the COVID closure started, we bought all the dividers and all of the material for the staff and the cleaning and things, and that's still going on. So could you have limited browsing in the Minden Library on Monday and Wednesday? On Friday?
We could do that too. I'm writing these all down so I can keep them straight. Sorry. Yes, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is also doable.
Because I think we have people in the community that, I mean, some can come in on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, some can't. And some may, maybe the curbside service will go down or it may continue, but that's not a continuous event for a staff member. And so I think we could work with the staff to get all of this accomplished.
Heather, can you remind me of what hours you said in the motion?
10 to 4.
And which days did you say, Heather?
I said Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
In other words, when the library's open, we will have limited hours for browsing, 10 to 4, and it will be open to the public and at the capacity that limits that have been set by the governor.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we need to maybe redo a motion so that we know which hours are being voted on.
Well, we
Right.
haven't voted yet, so it
We
discussion.
haven't
Sorry.
voted.
Sorry, I was jumping ahead.
Well, we could modify the motion possibly. Although that might be considered unfriendly as opposed to a friendly modification. I mean, the proposer can reject the modification
Right.
and then we start with a new motion.
So the current motion is Monday through Saturday, 10 to 4. Is that just for the Minden Library?
Yes,
Okay. And then would we be discussing the other 2 locations separately?
we can.
It's totally up to you. I just want to make sure I have it right.
Well, we-
Um,
Go ahead, Heather.
no, go ahead, Bonnie.
Well, we have Monday through Saturday from Minden and leave Lake Tahoe, since it's only open on Tuesday, Thursday, at Tuesday, Thursday.
And then the bookmobile twice a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to speak because I think there are some issues that we need to consider when we're looking at this. We're having calls from county commissioners. We have a very large community group that are angry that the library is not open. And I think that we're looking at, if we don't do something to serve our communities, one, our budget, I think, is going to be much more difficult this year through the commissioners because they don't see why we're not doing what being open to serve the public, and the taxpayers are not happy about it. So I think this has more ramifications than what we might consider. And I think Lisa Foley in her comments pointed out very clearly, if we don't have access to the library, they don't begin to see it as essential. And going to the commissioners and saying why we need all this is why they're questioning why we need to even why didn't we put people on furlough if they're not working? And so I think there's a broader interest here in the community and a very important issue for the board, for the community to look at the board and say, you are doing what you were appointed to do.
I completely disagree with the statement that not being open for browsing means we're not open. Curbside is open. I mean, I realize it is difficult for some people, and that's why I support not a 5 or 6 day a week opening for the Minden branch, but a 3 day a week opening for the Minden branch. Let's do that. And maybe a month from now, things are so good, we want to go to 5 days or 6 days. But I think it's better, if things get worse in a month or 2 and we have to go back to 3 days from 5 or 6, I think that's worse than starting with 3 and then going up to 5 or 6.
Well,
Sorry, Jill, go ahead.
I just agree completely. I think, to throw it all out at one time and then pull back. My son is the principal at Reed High School, and that's what they've been doing to them. So I listened to him and how hard it is. They say, okay, the school's going to be open, and then 3 weeks later, no, school's going to be shut. And they've done this back and forth. So I think if we do a little more baby steps, and we're getting to that point, but there's still more work to do with COVID than there was without COVID. And we still have fewer staff. I mean, that's the bottom line. So I think if we do it smartly and do it correctly and work our way up to this and, have Maria's position refilled. And Maria did a lot for the library. She is going to be missed terribly.
She is.
I mean, she was like 2 people. I worked with her for years. And so, I think I agree with Elizabeth completely.
I'd just like to step in and say something on behalf of the staff. I know that some public perception has been that if we're only doing curbside, then we're not working, but the staff is actually working harder than ever. Not only on the very quickly increasing curbside services, but with staff shortages, that means that people are doing 2 jobs or 1.5 jobs. And so they're working harder than they were before the pandemic. Plus, we have more donations than I can even name. We have so many donations coming in every day that we have 2 people working on them, and that's just donations. We get returns triple that. And so we have other staff working on returns. And then, as we've already mentioned, the staff is working on things like sanitizing and monitoring how many people are coming in the building and things like that. So honestly, there is a misperception out there that if we're not fully open, then the staff's just sitting around, but they're not.
Are
They're
all
actually
staff
working
work-
harder than ever.
Are any of the staff working from home?
A couple of days a week, there's about 3 or 4 staff members who work at home once or twice a week. And that's just to reduce the number of people in the building. And try to prevent, the spread of the virus by keeping fewer people close together. But they will come back as soon as we are ready to reopen.
Another thing is, before COVID, you had so many volunteers in there. It was unbelievable, like sorting the books that you're talking about,
Mhm.
the donations. I mean, I
Mhm.
used to go in and help, and I mean, many, many hours a week were put into that, and you can't have those people right now.
Right.
So that's even more
Mhm.
people missing.
Mhm. We do have staff with underlying health conditions as well. So we try to keep them from having as much contact as maybe other employees in terms of like sanitizing and contact with patrons and things like that. So I can think of at least 4 or 5 people on staff who have an underlying health condition that puts them at a higher risk.
And I will say that I do agree with Bonnie that if we don't start to offer the services, we're supplanting in-person services with these other things. And people are going to say, why do we need a library? And I know when I was appointed to the board, Commissioner Penzel stated that someday eventually we'll go to no brick and mortar and just be all virtual. And I do not want to see that happen. The library is an extremely important piece of any community. So I think we absolutely need to have some hours where people can use the facility.
I agree
I think
completely.
we all agree on that.
Yeah.
It's just a question of how many days a week, I think, is where we're not in agreement.
Mhm.
And I do believe that 3 days a week is too few. So that is my opinion based on what I read from the community. And I might be willing to negotiate somewhere between 3 and 6. But I think 3 is too few. And it's just the idea of 3 days a week to go in and browse is just, I just don't feel it's providing a robust service to the community, where, they have access, to the fullest extent that we're able to give them access. And I would, so I would stick with saying that I think 3 days a week is too small.
Okay, Heather, so if I amend it to say Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, the branch is open for browsing, Wednesday, Friday for the bookmobile,
Uh-huh.
would that be
That-
more agreeable?
Fine. I would be fine with that as a compromise, yes.
Well, do we want to follow Amy's advice of not including Mondays because of the holidays and things?
We're just shorter staffed on Mondays. We do have a few Monday holidays during the year, but the last Monday holiday is
Coming up.
February 15th until
Yeah.
May.
On Monday holidays, the library is usually closed anyway.
Right,
So
but I'm
that-
saying there's only one between now and May.
I
Yeah.
know, so
The-
that's not really an argument for not observing all the other Mondays.
So
Right, I was
I
just
guess-
pointing out that on Mondays, we have fewer people. We have fewer people on Mondays and Saturdays because everyone is 40 hours except for the part-time people, and you can't work them 6 days a week. So we have
Right.
some people who do Monday through Friday and other people who work Tuesday through Saturday. So
And if
Mondays
we
and
go-
Saturdays are lighter.
If we go back to, do we have any historical data about, like in 2019, which days of the week patrons come more often?
No, actually, I think the last time that was done was during the recession when we lost some of our operating hours. Those have still not been restored from 2009. But we did have data at that time, but not anything that's current. We
Yeah.
just count the number of people who come,
Right,
you know.
okay.
Okay, Heather, what were so it'd be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Is that what you're recommending then, Kate, too, the two of you? So,
Well, I was asking Heather if I amend that motion. I mean, she
Yeah.
would have to say yes or no to that because she made the original motion.
Oh. right,
So I would say yes to your amendment. And do you want to restate your amendment again? Just
Okay,
it seems like Bonnie wants to make sure we all understand.
yes.
Okay, I amend the motion to have Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday browsing hours at the Minden branch, Wednesday and Friday to be bookmobile hours. And then the Tahoe branch remains what it has.
Tuesday,
Um,
Thursday.
Is that acceptable to you, Heather, and that as the amendment?
As a first step at this time, given everything that
For now.
is. So it gives,
Okay,
it's a compromise. It gives us 4 days a week and it allows us to keep our bookmobile. And I think that's a first step.
Well, I'd like to request actually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, if anybody's willing to consider that. Just because, as I said, Mondays are difficult. Busier days, Monday's not as busy as Tuesday. Our busiest days of the week, as far as my observations, are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday are actually our busiest. Fridays vary. They're all over the board. Mondays are usually lighter days. And as I said, we have fewer staff on those days. So if we were to pick the 4 best days, it would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday.
okay, then when would the bookmobile be then?
We could still do the bookmobile on maybe Wednesdays and Fridays.
Okay,
That sounds fine to me.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Just a recommendation.
Okay.
And I
Heather,
helped get the money for that bookmobile, so I was very excited to see it on the road.
Me too.
okay, so it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday for the Minden branch, Wednesday, Friday for the bookmobile, and then Tuesday, Thursday remains the same at Tahoe.
That would be great.
And then what day for opening? Because Heather, you had said next Wednesday?
Yes, so,
The
you know,
10th.
it was February 8th, next Wednesday.
Well,
That's
February 8th
Monday.
is a Monday.
Oh, I'm sorry, February 10th. Yes, I got my days mixed up. Sorry.
So if it was going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturdays, could you open next Thursday, starting browsing, limited browsing? You could do,
On the 11th?
yes.
Yes.
Would that be okay then, Heather, with your change to have it start?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
And that's a good compromise when Amy requested the 16th instead, so.
Mhm.
okay, so Veronica, could you read the motion to us now with the changes?
She's muted.
Okay, Veronica, you're muted.
Okay. So we have Minden browsing hours on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. We didn't discuss a time, I believe. Is it still 10 to 4?
10 to 4.
10 to
Okay. And then the bookmobile Wednesday and Friday, and then Tahoe Tuesday and Thursday, 10 to 4.
Okay.
Starting February 11th.
Starting
Starting
February 11th,
February
yes.
11th. Are we ready for a vote or is there further discussion? All of those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so our motion is passed then, and so the library will start start reopening on February 11th for browsing and services. And I really appreciate all the work the board has done on this, and Amy, also you, because I know it takes a lot to keep things moving.
Thank
And
you.
and I also think we need to get some publicity out
We will.
today
We will. We'll send out a press release later today.
so that when it's in
Excellent.
when it's in the paper next week, it'll say we're taking positive action. So,
Mhm.
okay, any other discussion on this or just, okay, closing public comments. At this time, public comment will be taken on those items that are within the jurisdiction and control of the Library Board of Trustees. To make public comment during the meeting, the public must call 775-783-6024 and leave a voice message, which will be played for the Library Board of Trustees and the public. Veronica, do we have any more public comment?
I have not received any public comment.
Okay. Okay, then do we have a motion to adjourn?
We have to
I
leave it
think we
open
still have to
now.
wait the 5 minutes.
We have to wait 5 minutes, sorry. Okay.
And I'll just say as public comment that this will be on the agenda of our next regular meeting, which is February 23rd. And at that point, we can evaluate how things are going with these hours and talk about possibly opening more in the months ahead. So I plan to put that on the agenda for next time.
Very good.
We look at other libraries that they're closed, but I think Douglas County is different than Washoe County and even Carson City because we serve a much more diverse community and not centered into a kind of urban or area that the two Carson City and Washoe are.
I agree that we are different and we serve our communities different. One of the reasons I included that sentence in the packet is just that a couple of trustees had asked what other libraries were doing, and so I wanted to provide that information. And we're frequently compared to Carson City. So I do tend to watch what they're doing and provide that information to you.
I appreciated that information.
Mhm.
Yeah, at the same time, I would like to note that in the southern part of our state, which has been hit much harder by COVID, all the libraries are open fully. So
And I checked with Lyon County
in
because
Las Vegas, in Las Vegas, you know, all their libraries are open. So for both for in-person and they're open just like normal times. So, you know, that's another data point.
and I checked with Lyon County and they initially closed in March till June, but they've been open since June with their regular browsing and everything. And they have had no adverse effects from doing that. And they're doing all the social distancing and they've removed some computers so that they're spaced apart.
I didn't look at the time, Veronica. How much time do we have left for public comment?
3 minutes, I think.
Okay.
Thank you.
It was, now it's 2, it was 10:47 when we
Okay,
started.
yeah, okay, so I didn't look at my clock at the bottom, so. What are you knitting, Jill?
Afghan for my granddaughters.
Aw.
I have four granddaughters that live up here. I made two for this year, but I could only get 2, and they're full size. They're like 5 feet by 6 feet. So yeah, so I was hoping to get all 4 done, but This will be for next year.
That's so cool.
I think it was a very good thing that we had this extra meeting to get this kind of solved it to move on. I think that was a really good thing. And people that were unhappy get an answer and, you know, we're moving in the right direction. And I appreciate all the work that Amy's done. Like I said, with watching my son with their open, their closed, their, you know, it's a challenge. I'm a very by the book person. I like to know what tomorrow looks like, you know. So this is a challenge.
Thank you, Joe. That's true. It's been a challenge for us all.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But I thought Dr. Holman's comment too about, you know, the providing some outlook for the people in the community to be able to participate in some things is important so that they're not feel they're locked in or they're locked out of situations.
Mhm. And I get that it's, you know, for some people, it's really comfortable going online and ordering, but there's something, it's like going to the store and seeing 25 things and, oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
That's really important too. I get that part. Mhm.
Okay, I think time for public comment is over. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion
make a
to
motion.
adjourn.
Okay, we are adjourned. It is now 10:52. Thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
You.
you.
Thank you all. So bye-bye.